You're welcome back to the Floki's Den. My name is Afolake. Nice to have you here. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and click the like button and turn on your notification bell so you know when next I upload another video. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back again. I appreciate this. On today's video, I'll be sharing what it is about the Saskatchewan driver's license and how I obtained my class 5 driver's license in one sitting. If this is what you're waiting to hear, please stay close. You're welcome back again. Like I mentioned, I'll be talking about the Saskatchewan driver's license because that's where I am. I'm filming from Saskatchewan, and I know driver's license vary from province to province and the fees also vary, but typical to Saskatchewan, I feel it comes rather cheaper than some other provinces. And even though it's still expensive, we still cry that the rates are high, but it's things that you need to know ahead of time if you're looking forward to landing in Saskatchewan. It's called the Saskatchewan Driver's License Program, and they are in stages. The first thing you need to do is to prove your driving experience. For you to be able to prove your history or your driving experience, you must be able to give them at SGI your driver's license from your home country. And let me mention here that they do not accept a driver's extract. Unlike other provinces that they do, in Saskatchewan, they do not. You can also be able to use your comprehensive insurance from your home country. That they have to give you something that shows that you've been driving for so long and you've been driving safe. No third-party insurance is acceptable here. If you bring that from your home country, they're just going to trash that. So take note of that. And if you have that, then you can prepare for your driving class. So there are various ways to prepare. They are on the website of the SGI. You can find the driver's free driving practice online. You can go there and check how to practice your road test and your visual signs. Let me mention here that the test comprises of about 3. The first one is your visual test, and that means that you must meet the visual standard, at least a minimum of the visual standard. And if you wear glasses and you are able to pass that visual using your glasses, note that you'll be given a restricted license, because that means you have to always, it will show in your license that you always have to use glasses to drive. So we need to take note of that. Then after the visual test, which you can do the same day you go for your knowledge test, the first thing you do is your visual test. When that is passed, then you go in for your knowledge test. The knowledge test is also in 2-fold. There's the one that you have to do that has to do with the signs identification. It's a 20 objective questions and you have to pass 16 of it. And then there's the situation one, which has to do with the rules of the road. So you must understand the rules, where you have to stop, or where you have someone crossing, or when you have someone pushing a cart, or someone, walking around the street. You know what to do at the situation. When you find a red sign and you're turning right, what you need to do. If you're on the left side and you're turning left, what you need to do when you see a particular sign, and so many signs. And that was a lot of unlearning for me, particularly because it was a lot of signs, not as much as I knew from my country, and I needed to learn those. It was a lot of signs for me to learn. So that took me to thinking about, how do I pass my test, right? So I had to enroll for a class. It wasn't mandatory at the time, but it was helpful to to enable me pass my test, right? That's the knowledge test, which comprise of the signs, the knowledge of the signs, and the identification of the road, what to do at a particular situation. So I think I did about 3 or 4 days. It was in the night of the classes. It was one of the SGI instructors that taught us. So it was almost like a practical thing on the board, right? That shows you a typical example of how, if a car is moving and is on this side, or a car is coming across and you are on this side, how do you, who gives way for who turns left first, who, when you get to a four-way cross road, who goes first, how to identify who gets there first and who moves first, all those kind of things. It was a lot to take in because of my many years of driving back in my country, and I have to unlearn what I knew. So that's a 20 question for each of those knowledge areas, and you have to pass on a 16 question basis, of which if you fail one of it, you're free to register again and pay for that. I'm going to be telling you the fees later. Then you eventually go for your road test. That's if you pass that. Then you'll be paying the fees for the road test. And note as well that if you fail the road test, you have 14 days to book again. You have 14 days to book again. So note that you have to book ahead. And most of the time, there's so many people, especially now that we're in the summer, a lot of queues for people booking. You probably will not get a slot until another 2 months. So be ready for that. A lot of people are trying to book. Some feel they're rebooking, and that is ongoing. Then for me, after the class, of course, I went for my road test. I went for my visual test. I went for my knowledge-based test. I failed initially one of the tests, which was the rules, the signs. I failed that, and I did it again, and I passed. So for instance, there are 2 tests in the knowledge-based test. So if you fail one and you want to register again for the other one, which you can do immediately, you have to pay the fees for the other one. You don't have to be right both again. You understand that? So the driver's license program is in this category. I'm going to list them out now. So for instance, they encourage children or students that are in their grade 11 going to grade 12 to also register from school. So that means they have to be 15 years old for them to register. And if they are not registering through their school, because in their school they have an instructor that does help them with initial simulation of those driving programs, and then takes them on the road for a particular time before they eventually go. In fact, from the school, they get to do their knowledge test from the school. That's the objective questions of the 2020, sorry. They get to do it in their school. And, that's a good one for students, right? But if you are not a student and you're trying to get your driver's license out of school, you have to be 16 years old. And then you'll be obtaining a class 7 learners. That's if you're new to driving. I wasn't new to driving, and for me coming, they will give you a particular time frame for you to be able to do your visual test, your knowledge test, then your road test. So if you don't do it at that point in time, they might take you back to class 7, that is the learners, or even the novice one, which I'll get to now. So we need to understand that at the time when you come, you must be prepared to quickly book and write your test, because the driver's license you come with from your country would expire shortly. Not on the expiry of the card, but I think it's about a year or so from when you come. You won't be able to use it again in Saskatchewan. So that you need to note. So the first license program is class 7, which is the learner's driver's license. And on this driver's license, if you have that license, you will be using that license for 9 months. 9 months. And that driver's license has restrictions. You must have a supervising class 5. That's a full class 5 driver sitting by your side all the time when you're driving. You cannot drive during the day on your own. You can only drive at midnight, for instance, midnight to 5 a.m. You can take your family members in the car, just your immediate family members, between midnight and 5 a.m. That's one of the restrictions. Then you can only take, which is, this particular one is synonymous to all the classes actually. You can only take number of passengers per the seat belt. So if you have a 7-seater car, you can't have 8 passengers in the car. If you have a 5-seater car, 3 people sitting at the back with a strap. Even if you have a 5-seater car and you have a 2 seat belt strap behind the car, you can only take 2. So it's as per the seat belt. That's the number of passengers you have to carry. Then you shouldn't have drugs on you, alcohol while you drive. You shouldn't have taken drugs rather, or alcohol while you drive. Then you cannot be a supervising driver. You're already being supervised. You remember, you're a class 7 and you're a learner, so you cannot supervise another learner. So those are the restrictions for class 7 learners. And you must drive based on this class of license for 9 months before, without any infractions. Then you'll be able to get the next license program, which is class 5 novice 1. Class 5 novice 1. And on this novice 1, you can drive with it for 6 months before you move to the next license program. On this class 5 novice 1, you are no longer a learner, but you also have restrictions. On this class, you can drive alone. You can take your family members and just one person that is not your immediate family member in the car while you drive. Your family members can drive with you, can be in the car while you drive, and then only one person that is not your family member. So for instance, you cannot be in the car with 2 or 3 people that are not your family member. If you get stopped, you are going to be fined. And then the other ones that I mentioned, number of seatbelts per passenger, no drugs and alcohol while driving. Then on this one, you cannot also supervise. When you're in novice 1, you cannot supervise. You cannot be a supervising driver. Then after 6 months of this driver's license, without infractions as well, then you can move on to class 5, still the same class 5, and novice 2. And on this class of driver's license program, you can drive for 12 months without infractions before you move to the full experience class 5 driver's license, which was what I got on the first go. I was lucky to have that. This novice 2 has its own restriction as well. Although you can drive alone, you can carry anybody on the road, but you cannot be a supervising driver. You cannot supervise because it's only a class 5, full class 5, that can supervise another person that is learning, or maybe you're in novice 1 or whatever. Here in Canada, you have so many blocks. They tell you the next house is in the next block. So it consists of about maybe 3 houses or 4. Then you get to the next block and there's always a sign. There's always a sign. It was difficult, so you can't speed. Within all those shorter intervals, you cannot do more than 50. That's basic speed limits. And of course, when you're in the children's school zone, it's lower. So you have to always obey those rules. Otherwise, you get fined. If you go on your road test, you're scored in the negative. That's one thing you must realize. If you make an error, for instance, you did not stop at the red sign, there's a negative that goes on your sheet. If you get into the road without giving way to another person, if you don't follow the rules, really, there's always a negative. But you must not have more than -9 negative. So if you have more than that, then you have failed your road test. You need to be careful to know the rules before going for your road test. I'll go quickly into the cost of obtaining your driver's license. The license, the full class 5 license, if you're getting it in one go, is $87 here in Saskatchewan, and it's valid for 5 years. Your knowledge test comprises of the two tests I mentioned, the sign identification and then knowing the rules on the road. Those are $25 each. Your road test is $55. So you have to pay $55. As many times as you fail it, you are paying the same money. Dollars. If you go through the learners program, you are going to be paying $25 to start, of which when you pass, that's the class 7 learners, when you pass, you upgrade to the next one, novice 1, with a $15, and that's an upgrade fee, and you keep upgrading in that manner until you get your full class 5. And guess what, guys? I was going to mention here that I'm being sugar driven. I have a driver in Saskatchewan. Guess what? My son. Guess what? I told him that if he passes his road test, anywhere I am going, if he's in the car, he's my driver. So, if he can drive himself, he can drive me, right? Proud mom driver, yeah. So, he also just passed. He went through the class 7 learners from school, which was also good for him, and he did his road test. He failed first, so it's not a crime to fail. You can, but you can just keep practicing. The bottom line is for you to get your driver's license, because look, it just gives you that sign of relief. It frees your mind. It makes you independent of your movement. You're not scared that because here police, they are so everywhere you turn to. So it's really not so much of it, because yeah, we have the transport system. I'm going to post another video on, I'm going to take you guys on the bus trip to understand what it is to be on the bus. It's cool, right? It's cool. So you can, it's an option if you don't have a car. Everybody started with the bus when we got here, but we must understand that it takes you almost twice or even more the journey using the bus than when you have your car. If you're doing a 15 minutes drive or a 20 minutes drive, you probably will be spending about an hour and a half or more to get to the same place. It is good, but when you're in the winter, it ain't gonna be fun. Winter time, too cold the time, you don't want to be outside waiting for the bus. I don't want to. And it's better to have a car, right? So guys, that's all that I need to share about obtaining a driver's license, how I got my driver's license, and how I have a son driver. Okay guys, look forward to another video where I will share more informative things for you to look forward to as an immigrant, or if you're Saskatchewan bound, or even if you stay here. There's so many things that we can share, we can learn, and I hope this is helpful to you. Try and share this video to other people that might benefit from it. Click like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and keep sharing the love. Thank you guys.